All right, guys. Our next guest is coming off a spectacular win over Rafael dos Anjos and currently holds the UFC record for most consecutive wins in lightweight history. He's one of the most exciting fighters in the division. Always a pleasure to chat to. El Kukui, Tony Ferguson. Welcome back to Submission Radio, mate. How's it going today?
Awesome, guys. Thank you guys for having me. Just enjoying life, being fat right now. I love it.
Well, we're going to ask you about that, Tony. I mean, it's getting close to those holidays. How's the Christmas looking thus far? And is Snapdown City all decked out and decorated?
Oh, man, the holidays are looking like this. Fast food here, full, complete meals there, and just eating absolutely anything left and right, man. Not cutting weight and sleeping in a couple days out of the week and not feeling bad about it, my friends.
It's a good life,
Life
man.
is good.
What's making you fat? What's your number one fattening dish?
Oh, carbs. Any kind of carbs I can get. Last fight, I stayed away from carbs a lot, so I'm eating tortillas, chips, nachos, fast food. You name it, I'm eating it, and I'm already to that point now where I'm ready to start getting back to work and getting back to business, yeah.
It's funny because I used to eat pretty unhealthy, and for me, tacos were like a healthy option. So there you go. Let's talk about one of the funniest and cutest videos that we saw recently. We saw you put up a video of you and one of your cute dogs guarding the Christmas tree. Is it true that you named your dog Das?
Yeah. Doris, he's pretty gifted, man. He has this gift when he falls asleep. He lets his lipstick pop out. Yeah, we got done with the Christmas tree, and just to top it off on top of the star with that thing, he ended up popping up a lipstick, and yeah, there you go, man. Red Rocket.
Yeah, we saw that on Instagram, and of course, every single comment was pretty much about that. That's hilarious. Just curious. Also on your Instagram, I mean, you pretty much it's just videos nonstop of you training. Are you training all the way through Christmas? Like we know you're getting a bit fat there, but are you sort of taking a break at the moment, Tony?
No, I really never take a break. I have a couple fighters that are up and coming that have some fights coming up. And just kind of keep it in shape. I never really fall off the board, fall off the wagon. I keep pretty much in contact with my stuff. I still watch film, but we're enjoying the holidays right now. This is the first time I was able to eat Thanksgiving dinner without having to worry about cutting weight or so on and so forth. Just per example, I don't have a fight to worry about right now. Right now it's about enjoying the family time, being at home, just relaxing. This is my first year for my son and for my family. So it's something pretty big for myself, and it's a big accomplishment to come out what I did this year and to think about what kind of damage I'm going to do for next year, man. For sure.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that it's your first year with your son. What is that experience like? I mean, me and Casper aren't parents, but it must be a pretty special feeling knowing that you're going to share all this, the Christmas, the celebrations, the presents, the whole shebang with the son for the first time.
Oh, it's an amazing feeling. This is my first kid, so my wife and I, we've just always imagined how it was going to be, and it's nothing like it. It's complete awesomeness, and I find myself being like a bigger dork, and just just the first time dad. That's the only way I can explain it, and it's a blessing, man. It's really fun, and I can't wait till he is able to do some of the sports and stuff that I was able to do growing up, and just kind of just share that time with them, and not really be a deadbeat dad,
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned about the damage you're going to do next year. I mean, obviously we can't wait. You've spoken about how your goal is not so much a title belt, but to be considered the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Which is fascinating because it seems to be sort of a very different mindset to a lot of fighters these days, and that's one of the things that makes you sort of different, considering that you now hold the record at lightweight for most wins in a row, of course, 9. How close do you think you are to reaching that goal, and sort of what has to happen in order for that to become a reality, Tony?
That's already a reality. I'm already in title contention. I got these guys in a chess match, and I'm calling 3 moves. That title will be mine, but I'm looking for multiples, and I am looking for that best pound-for-pound spot. Getting that best pound-for-pound spot will mean that I do have multiple titles around my waist. I've never been much for the accolades and for the trophies and the merits because at one time in my life, I kind of got bored of all those, being at wrestling, these tournaments, every single weekend and getting a medal, just for going out there and competing. And it just I just started throwing them in a box. I don't want that to happen. I don't want that title to come to my hands and be like, nah, I don't feel like it wasn't deserved or if it wasn't earned or whatever. Now, not saying that any of my accolades weren't, but I want it to be special. I want it to be super special and just super dope. And even if it's not special to everybody else, at least it is to me. And honestly, I don't fight for anybody else besides myself and my family. So therefore, I win. And you know what I mean? Like, if anybody wants me to go for the title and they're telling me that, I'm going to go the complete opposite way. Just in despite that, in the fact that that's what everybody else is doing. I'm not a follower, dude. I'm a leader. I don't ever try to follow anybody's lead. I try to pave my own path. That way, you know, it's trial and error, man. Sometimes you don't have a blueprint to pave the path that you're given.
It's a fascinating mindset, Tony. I'm curious because you mentioned the wrestling days, but can you pinpoint the moment in your MMA career where you sort of changed your mindset? Was it always like that from the beginning? Because I believe early on, a lot of people got the feeling that you were sort of hunting for that title. Or was there a point in your MMA career where you had that sort of realization and changed your mindset to wanting to become the pound-for-pound guy in the division?
It's just a mindset. It's just always setting new goals for yourself. I'll relate back to one of my past interviews, which I said was, I would remember walking through the high school halls and looking at the guys, the all-state guys on the wall. Mm-hmm. That would be like for wrestling or baseball or whatever sport it was. And I would say, man, I want to do that. I want to be that guy, that all-state guy. And I just want to do it. And as soon as I got there and I worked hard to get there, I said to myself, well, you can't stop there. You kind of took like the Forrest Gump approach where you're like, you know what, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to see where this takes me. And just keep adding these accolades. And once you stop and you start looking back at that, that's when you stop. Your progress stops. And I'm a momentum and flow fighter. And that's exactly how I've been for the last 20, 30 some years in my competition. I haven't stopped because I've always set new goals for myself. And I've always found the best coaching and the people to help me, even if they didn't give me the coaching, just to help train me or just to get that exercise, that group that you need to help push you. I'm very smart because I've been trained very well around a lot of some of the world's best coaches in the Midwest. And I believe that because as I'm going around now and I'm being, you know, introduced to a lot of these other fighters and they don't have that coaching or they haven't, and I'm talking to them and you can tell that they've never had that coaching. I'm kind of cracking up in my head because I'm doing something right. So, I mean, accolades to everybody always hunting and doing things for themselves and their team. But I've been that way my whole life, and now I'm trying to be a little bit selfish and get that pound-for-pound spot and secure my legacy with multiple titles.
It's working for you. And it's interesting how you say that you don't fight for anybody else other than yourself, considering that you have one of the most fan-friendly styles, and obviously everybody loves watching you fight. Your last fight against Rafael dos Anjos, I mean, it was a great performance, and after that, the big takeaway that people had was that, you know, Tony Ferguson can now take on anyone in the division. Did you feel like you had to beat RDA in order to prove that to yourself and truly believe in it, or was that something that you already knew and sort of believed going into that fight?
Say that question one more time.
Well, I was just going to say it. Like, when you beat Rafael dos Anjos, it was like an eye-opening moment where everybody, like media, fans, critics, said, wow, Tony Ferguson, he can take on anybody in the division. He's ready now. Did you feel like you had to beat him in order to prove that to yourself, or did you already believe that?
I already knew in my head I could beat Rafael dos Anjos. We used to be teammates at Rain Training Center underneath Coach Mark Munoz, and before Mark retired. And there was an opportunity where we were supposed to spar. We were supposed to go in there and get a couple rounds in. And we never really got that round out of there. And that was a missed opportunity. And then later on, he ended up hitting me up about Showtime tennis and wanting to help him get ready for him. And I told him, I was like, I can't. That's a conflict of interest. Sorry, my friend. You know, I just can't do it. And I just knew in my head that he was beatable, but I was going to have to work. That meant that I was going to have to get out of my comfort zone, leaving the county, you know, hours away from home and literally being away from absolutely nothing and becoming, a mountain man again. It really, really was. It was just like finding myself back to where I was when I first started all this stuff. And that's how I had to beat this guy, because he's been to that top of that mountain. He knows what it's like to be and have that title, and he's hungry for it. And for me, I'm hungry, man, for anything that comes my way. And when you have a guy like me versus a guy that had it, you're always going to have the guy that's like me going to win, because I'm hungry. And if you have guys like that are up and coming, such as Max Holloway, and we have some of the longest streaks in the UFC, But you don't really hear us bitching about it because we're doing what we do best, which is fighting. We're stacking our chips in that department. And that's what I choose to do. And now I'm able, and my skills are up to it, where I'm able to start stacking some chips in the other departments, which is starting to talk about the title fights, which is starting to talk about Conor, about how he has the belt and how Khabib wants a fake belt. And he wants me to fight over that fake belt, and how I want both those belts recycled and give me a real belt. You know, even dropping a weight class or bumping up a weight class. These are all options for me right now. Beforehand, it was hard, man, because I was, when I broke my arm, I got shoved back to 70-something rankings, and that's when I started giving a fuck about rankings. Because I worked my ass off to get to like top 20, and then boom, one fight, and I dropped like 50 points.
It's interesting because people are wondering what's going to happen next. You recently said how you would be open to going down to featherweight, maybe taking on Jose Aldo. How serious were you about that, and how difficult would that weight cut be for you? Because it wasn't that long ago, you were on the program with us, and you were telling us how you wouldn't mind going up to welterweight so you can eat 2 steaks instead of 1. Do you think you can make 145?
I guarantee you I can make 145. This last fight camp, I had no nutritionist help. I did my own thing, and I did it really well. Like I said, I had to get away from all the bullshit and really get back in tune with my own self and my family and where my head was at, and finding the fun back in this sport. Because when you stop having fun in this sport, the weight cuts become harder and everything else becomes harder. Well, now I'm having fun. I'm doing the salsa dance inside the cage. I'm throwing some different kind of combos. My feet are there. You know, I feel my feet underneath me. I'm not slipping on some stupid stickers. You know, I'm doing my homework on all this stuff. I'm actually taking this a little bit more serious than I was before. I'm having more fun with it. You know, it's not becoming that wrestling thing where I used to throw my medals inside the box anymore. I'm having fun with this where I want to start experimenting with my moves again and start coming up with new things, not just an Imanari roll. You know, by the way, EA Sports needs to update my rankings on that shit too. So, but you know, I mean, you know, so start throwing some Superman punches off the cage too. You know, just take some notes. But what I'm trying to do is change the game, not a lot, just enough so people notice it, and the up and coming people try to beat whatever I'm doing. They're going to go out there and try to double up on what I'm doing and keep me competitive. Because those are the guys that are really keeping us competitive, not these guys at the top.
So just clarify for us, Tony. I mean, you say you've got all these options as far as different divisions. If you're saying you're going to be holding multiple belts, what kind of belts do you think are in your future?
Oh, 155, 145, 170. And if I'm fat enough and I get a strength and conditioning coach that wants to put some muscle on me, 185. But I highly doubt that. I like Bisping. Bisping's pretty chill. I'm 100. I can float up to 205, 210, no problem. I got the frame for it, and I got the attitude and the mental conditioning to train for it. These guys are not quick enough, and I have the conditioning to push these guys to the limit and make them break, quoting Kale Sonnen, because he has seen me do this inside over at Rain Training Center. And it doesn't matter what weight class they were in. I put the pressure on these dudes. I'm going to make them fold. And that's my mental attitude, because I was a captain of a 2-time national championship Grand Valley State University team. I had to make the decisions to push the team, even if I didn't want to, if I was hungover or whatever. If I had homework or if I had to go work, I had to make sure that I could represent. And I found that competition was in my blood, man, and so this is where I'm at. And I take that same attitude that I do, and I call it blue chip mental toughness. And wherever I go, whatever weight class, I'm going to bring that attitude with me. And I'm going to enforce it, and I'm going to have fun with it. And you'll see me with my hand raised.
Well, that's fascinating. A champion across multiple divisions. Looking at your division and the current champ, Conor McGregor spoke about how guys with Alvarez's style and frame aren't going to pose much of a threat, and that the guy who will pose the biggest threat to him will be like a Nate Diaz, who's taller and longer than him. Well, you definitely fall into that category, Tony. Do you feel that stylistically you're the toughest matchup for him in the division?
Well, of course he's going to pick on a number 5. He doesn't want to pick on anybody else that's higher than that. I mean, the guy's picking his opponents. He's a paper champ. When you're doing that, of course you're going to be close and you're going to be watching who you're fighting. A long and lankier type of opponent is going to be probably one of the best threats, but it's also going to be one of the best fighters for him because he's going to go toe-to-toe. Now, when you put Conor against a guy like me, when he's unpredictable, attacking your ankles and attacking your chin and your midsection, and you got Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's actually can take a punch here and there. And then, you know, I mean, he's got, some time off. So, I mean, he's got full rest recovery in his body. He's going to be able to take a punishment. But can you take that ground and that grinding? Conor poses no threat to what myself or Khabib has. Like I see no threat in this dude. This dude is just a lot of talk. He has a nice left hand, but my solid straight right and my left hook and my lead uppercut and my inside leg kicks and honestly, my whole repertoire is better than what he's got. You put numbers on top of that, I'll bet my hand will be raised. And I don't want these guys. And regardless of when I fight them, I'm not going to try to go out there and go for the quick finish. I want these guys to go through the pain. I want them to go through the 5 rounds with me. That's what I want now. This has been like such a great opportunity for me to like go out there and do all my finishes to get on my highlight films. Perfect, great. Now I want as much mat time as I can get. I want to put these guys out there and make them quit so that there is no rematch. That everybody can see how fake these guys are. And put them through that punishment, tap them out later on, make them want to quit, unanimous decision, doesn't matter. Make them go to 5 rounds, and then just make them think twice about wanting to fight again.
It's interesting how you spoke about the way you and Khabib are sort of the 2 elite guys in the division. Khabib sort of had the same sentiments that if the 2 of you were to fight in a title eliminator, that you guys would essentially be the 2 best fighters going at it. It'd be almost like, I don't want to say the real title fight, because obviously Conor's the champion, but something to that effect. Do you sort of share their sentiments? Is that how you look at it? That if you and Khabib were fought, that'd be essentially the number 1 and 2 guy fighting the division?
Yeah, I can't really see as Conor as a champion. I see right now as the title's open. Like, I mean, Conor's taking a step out. I don't even like to throw his name in the object because they do fight like one person at 155. You know what I mean? It's like I've been sitting here, and even Khabib, he's been kind of inactive. I've been the most active in this damn place. I'm pissed, but yet I'm drinking my tea, my spearmint with my pinky up in the air, and my Kermit Frog fan. But that don't matter. You know what I mean? Like I'm racking up points here, man, and that's all that matters. Like I'm gonna go down in the books as a living legend, and that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be in the UFC Hall of Fame. You know, I'm the first guy for the first lightweight to have this long and lengthy record, which I don't give a shit about. The only thing I think about is trumping my last fight. And with Khabib, I don't see him posing a threat. I mean, I stopped all 4 of RDA's shots. I mean, with Khabib. I mean, if RDA got 1 shot on me, I could say that Khabib could manhandle me. Yeah, you guys could use that. But that dude got 0 shots on me. I mean, literally, we spent 0 time on the ground. Like, he didn't want no fucking part on it. I mean, the time that I got on the ground, he did a really nice timed kick and kicked my leg out from underneath me, which is great. Props to him. But, I mean, he didn't want no part of my rubber guard or my go-go clinch or nothing along those lines of that. And Khabib would just feel lost in my snap-down city. That dude has nowhere to go.
Well, speaking of that fight, has the UFC given you any updates or indication as to when your next fight will be and if it will be against Khabib Nurmagomedov?
Well, it's what the fans want. The fans want the fight, man. I hear this all the time on my Twitter and my Instagram. People are blowing it up. They know Conor's out. They know Khabib needs a fight. They know that Khabib and I were supposed to fight in January, but that dude backed out, man. He had some boo-boos he had to take care of. So, you know, it's okay. Go out to AKA and, you know, heal your boo-boos with Daniel Cormier a little bit. You know, you guys can take your face and eat some cake and pies and do all that and get fat again, you know. But when you guys got some real fights coming up, like in March, and AKA wants to step up to the plate, or if another fight wants to pop up, I'm down, man. I'm ready to sign on the dotted line, and I think the UFC knows that. And I think it needs to be for that belt. I don't think it needs to be for that belt. Damn it. Straight up, I've been putting in time, putting in my numbers. This is my time. Let's get some heat going for this thing. I mean, I could say let's do this for the Ultimate Fighter. We can do Team Khabib versus Team Ferguson. That'd be dope.
Oh, wow.
Imagine that. That would be unbelievable. When you say that you want it to be for the belt, explain that to us a little bit. Are you saying that the UFC should maybe strip Conor of the belt and put the belt up for when you 2 fight? Is that what you mean?
No way. Let's throw it up for an interim belt. If he's going to take a step out for a while, then they need to throw an interim belt. They need to throw an interim belt out there and have a champ out there. And then when he comes back, he'll be ready for that ass whooping, which would be me.
I'm just wondering, you know, you've always been confident about how you do against Khabib. You say that he doesn't really pose any threat. Was there anything that you sort of learned about him at UFC 205? Anything that you knew, anything new that you saw about him? And were you sort of impressed in his performance at the way he was able to completely dominate Michael Johnson in the grappling?
It's frustrating because every time I get ready for Khabib, I have to reset. I don't just say like, oh, I know everything about him. I scrap all my notes. I go back to all my drawing board and, you know, I have to go back to my team and tell them this is what the plan is. This is what we're going to do this time. And each time I have to make sure that it's something new and it's something creative. And we'll relate back. I will relate back to a lot of the things. But I always try to scrap it and become a little bit more new and faceted with it because it's evolutionized, man. People change and people get better. But he still poses the same kind of weaknesses and does the same thing when he gets hit. Everybody's got a plan until they get hit, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Some of the rumors that we've heard, and I mean, there may not be any truth to them, but apparently UFC is considering doing this fight between you two in Russia if it does happen. Do you have any issues with fighting in Russia if the fight does come together and you have to go over there and take him on?
If the fight in Russia, I'd rather do it in Vegas personally. Honestly, I personally would like to. I guess I really wouldn't mind. I'm not going to say yes or no. We'll have to talk about it if the money's right. But I'd like to see it in Vegas where it all started, where we were supposed to fight at before, either MGM or Mandalay. I think pay-per-view too, which would be actually pretty dope.
Just curious,
T-Mobile Arena, which actually would be a lot better.
Yeah, and I'm just curious because obviously this fight was supposed to happen a couple of times and it didn't happen. Sorry, Tony, we'll let you go in just a moment. We know you're a busy guy, but because the fight didn't happen for a couple of times, do you sort of have a backup plan? Like obviously March sort of seems like the rough date when it would happen, but if there's an injury or something, would you have a backup plan for anybody else who you would potentially fight?
Oh, there is always contingency plans. For me, I like to stay competitive. I don't like to sit on the sidelines, and I'm a super fighter. So I'm sure with my management, myself, we can always think of a plan just to keep me active, regardless if it's through the EBI, the Eddie Bravo Invitational. I know we got a couple different submission grappling tournaments that are coming up. I just like to stay active. My whole entire life, I've always been a multiple sport athlete, and I hate getting bored. I like to stay moving, man, and just keep going. So that's what you'll see me doing. But I'm going to keep aiming for March, like I said, after my fight. I believe January was a little too close. I didn't think anybody was going to sign down the line just yet. But February's, nice. March, April. It doesn't matter. I'm ready for anything. I'm going to keep training. I'm going to add in some brand new training skills, which you guys should keep up to date with. Keep up to date on my Instagram. By next week, I'll actually be doing some new martial arts, and I'll be posting up some new video. Yeah, man, this is about the time now where you guys can see me start doing some mitts and some cool stuff, some jiu-jitsu, and having some fun now on the camera because we got to that point now, man. Everybody knows how to defend a punch and defend a choke, so here we go.
And I would personally love to see this Ultimate Fighter between you and Khabib. So hopefully someone's listening right now because that would be just absolutely fascinating. But now, Tony, we'll let you go. But
Team Khabib versus Team Ferguson. Can you believe that? That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. Just so many aspects. I'm just really curious. I'm really curious to see you as a coach because I know you have some really cool different training styles. I'm really curious to see the rivalry between you and Khabib. I mean, the whole thing would elevate the Ultimate Fighter because, quite recently there were a few seasons that people weren't as excited about. I think this would be the season that gets everybody watching again. But final question, Tony,
I would think so completely. And I hate to interrupt you, but you know what? I would think so 100% because my boys would train a hell of a lot harder than his guys, and our guys will go out there and just put a whooping on their boys. That's all I'm going to say. They have no chance. AKA has no chance against my guys in their training squad. So that's it.
Wow, imagine that. I mean, I'm already excited for it. Somebody needs to already be getting producers for the show. But final question. Let's make that shit happen. Now, last question. I mean, over the last 3 years, it's been amazing to watch you grow, evolve, and put on unbelievably exciting fights. You made history with your current streak and title shot just around the corner. For everybody listening out there, describe in your mind what is 2017 going to look like for Tony Ferguson?
It's about winning, having fun, and enjoying the whole entire journey, man. And by enjoying the whole entire journey, everything else is going to be put into place. I don't say what everybody wants to hear. What I say is for me, and I know 2017 is going to be absolutely beautiful. It's going to be a lot of hard work, a hell of a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, a lot of damn laundry, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of dieting and a lot of planning, man. It's time to take this whole level that I've been competing at and to shove it up a whole new gear, man, into elite. I've always been high level, but I'm elite, man. I'm way above high level. I've been to that point of high level the last couple fights, and now I'm to that final level, that glow, where I'm not just finding the microwave light. You know, this is a different kind of this is a different kind of light that I'm finding, and I got that flow, and I'm happy, and I'm smiling inside my fights, and I'm excited, and I hope everybody else is too.
Wow.
See me on pay-per-view. Damn it, let's do this shit.
Well, it's most importantly next year. It's also going to be fun for all the fans and exciting to watch because I mean you're an exciting fighter. So all that stuff that you were talking about, all the things that you're going to be putting on Instagram, the exciting videos, that is going to be at Tony Ferguson XT. So make sure you give him a follow, give him a like if you haven't already. Don't forget to look out for Tony Ferguson. We can't wait, Tony, to find out when your next fight is official, and we'll have to get you back on the program to discuss that. We could talk to you for hours, but we'll let you go. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Tony.
All right, cheers, man. Thank you, guys. Have fun. Appreciate it. Merry Christmas.